Well, what a weekend of Scottish football we had this weekend. Talking about the bottom six of the SPFL table, we had wins for Dundee United, we had a win for Aberdeen, and we had a win for Livingston. Strange win for Livingston, but nevertheless a win for Livingston. Livingston do look as if they are the team that will go down in the SPFL. I can't see them turning that round with 4 games left to go. Looks like they will be relegated. Will Kilmarnock go down? Will St Mirren, who have won a title already, they have won a cup this season. Strange position they find themselves in after winning that cup against Celtic earlier on in the season. Against Wilfred Nancy, and could Dundee be dragged into the relegation battle? But it's all about the top of the table, isn't it? It's there was a wins for Hearts at the weekend, wins for Celtic, and a win for Motherwell. Was that win for Motherwell expected? Falkirk played a good game. Hibernian played fantastic with 9 men, and it leaves us in a fantastic position from a Scottish perspective for fans out with the big two, as they call them in Glasgow. From my own personal perspective, I think it's been a fantastic weekend for my team. It's been a fantastic weekend for Hearts fans. They'll be thinking we're 3 points closer to the league title, but Hearts have been there before, and we're going to listen to some of the managers of the teams in question, and we're going to listen to an ex-player who's been there and was 8 minutes, was it, from winning the title back in the day. I want to listen to the Motherwell manager first of all, because what he did at the weekend was nothing, and what he's achieved with Motherwell over the course of the season has been absolutely fantastic. I haven't listened to him too much over the course of this season, so it is interesting to hear his mindset.
In at halftime, having dominated the first half completely, played some outstanding football, scored 2 really good goals, kept them away from the most open and too much pressure on us, dealing with their set plays, was absolutely fantastic to be in that situation. Then we knew the second half was going to be more complicated. We knew they could put in some players that we probably expected to start the game to change the tempo and the quality, which they did, and they just let loose in the second half when they had nothing to lose anymore. And then you end up in a situation where suddenly you're under huge pressure. You're playing at a venue where there's a lot of intensity. They have everything going for them at the 2-2. And then I think you can see what we have learned from our experiences throughout the season. Take us back to the 3-3 game at Tynecastle in the beginning of the season, where we didn't stand against it. We kept our cool. We did our thing. We changed a little bit in the structure, how we defended in the middle of second half to get a little bit more control of the overloads on the side. And when that moment came to hurt them and to tip the game our way, we took it with composure and quality.
Composure and quality is something that he brings to that Motherwell team. There's obviously a lot of chat about him leaving, and it's all speculation, of course. And he said that he's planning for next season at Motherwell. Can he go to another club, a so-called bigger club? Would be a bigger club in Scotland, and could he do well at that club, or will he remain at Motherwell next season? Danny Rowe is the man who came into Rangers, and he's done okay with them, you've got to say. Fair play to them. He's got them up there fighting for the title, something that Rangers fans didn't think they would be doing at certain times of this season, but he has kept them in it. Has he reached the limitations of his own capabilities as a manager and this Rangers squad?
More than harder when you go 2 times 2-0 down. I think they were very effective in the first half then. They played through. I think it was, especially the first one was a transition moment where they were really quick, and then they scored. And this is sometimes what you have to accept, not what we want. But for me, it's more about the reaction. I think second half we come again strong out, and we change some things. The players come on, and it was helpful. But finally, it makes no sense to make something too positive. The result is not what we want. But we go forward. I still believe in this group, because they showed which mentality with coach they have.
And looking at the mannerisms of the two managers that we've just listened to, you've got the Motherwell manager Jens, who is completely focused on the reporter asking him the questions, and he's laser focused, and he's not having to think about what he's saying. You know, he's just telling it as it is. And then you look at Danny Rowe, and his eyes are all over the place. He doesn't focus. And is that a manager that's feeling the pressure at the club? I mean, Jens at Motherwell, he's just he's loving the position that they're in. They're there on merit. There's no real pressure on him. Maybe that's why he's a bit more relaxed. Will that count going into the remaining 4 games of the season? And can Danny Rowe, for one, take the pressure? And will Jens manage to just keep his place at Motherwell?
When you got it back to 2-2, perhaps the momentum was with Rangers. Did you feel as though a third goal was going to come?
Yeah, of course. I think when I count our opportunities, there was minimum 4 big chances we missed as well in the second half. It could be easy then 6-2, and then the game is done. And then with the nearly final attacking moment, they scored. There was a reflection. It was difficult for Czech then to keep him. But these are the moments in football. Yeah, these small things. They decide the game, and today it was finally then unlucky for us.
Unlucky for Rangers getting beat at Ibrox when they'll have only a few games at Ibrox this season. Let's listen to Derek McInnes, because he's a manager that's been there and done it many times with previous teams, getting so close but so far. He finds himself in a position where they could potentially win the league with Hearts, something that they didn't expect to do this season. But Derek McInnes is quietly confident, and it is all about consistency that they've had over the course of the season.
What have you just said to your team in that dressing room?
Exactly that. It's such an unusual way to win a game. You don't ordinarily practice that. Playing against 2 men light. The question was still on us, and I think disappointed with the first goal because our set-up wasn't quite right, and we just switch off at the back post. And they get the start that we didn't want. Because I actually thought the first 10-15 minutes, I don't know when they scored, but the first 10 minutes certainly I thought we were okay in the game. And maybe had more of the territory, but the game totally flips. And it's just a hopeful ball turn. The reason we play Cabora at the top of the pitch today is because we do feel Hibs were a wee bit susceptible to the ball in behind, and we didn't want them in just having the luxury of just playing against 2 at times. So, obviously it's a huge moment in the game with the goalkeeper getting sent off. And then the second red card helps our cause, no two ways about it. But I thought we stayed calm, stayed disciplined. We could have settled on the ball and gone back into where we just came from at time and get little overloads. But I think you need to credit Hibs for that. I thought the work rate they put in was sensational, especially their middle lot, doing the yards to help their fullbacks. And you're just looking for that calmness and somebody to step up. And when we need somebody, our captain does it again. It was a brilliant finish, good play from Kajota. And that was the adrenaline, the shot of oxygen we felt that, come on, let's go and get the winner now. And we just needed calmness. And Blair Spittle scores goals like that every day. He doesn't lash at it, which we were guilty of at times. He just stays knee over the ball, stays calm, nice side foot finish. And it could be such an important goal for us. But to win any derby, you have to do a lot right. The game was a bit unusual in that aspect, but I thought we just about deserved a win because we kept our discipline and we kept going.
Kept going. That's one thing that Hearts have done all season. Did they deserve the win? Obviously, because Hearts had the advantage on a player perspective. Were they convincing enough? Playing against 9 men, you've got to say, and he did say it himself, fair play to Hibs, because they played absolutely phenomenal defending, and they were unlucky to succumb to that goal towards the end of the game. But when you're putting pressure and pressure and pressure, and the sustained pressure that Hibs were under during the game, the goal was always coming, wasn't it? I mean, you could see it coming a mile off sometimes. And if it would it have been unfair on Hearts if they didn't get it? Personally, I think that it would have been fantastic if Motherwell did. If Hibernian did get that result, a draw would have been fair play to them, especially with the goalkeeper, strangely enough, catching the ball outside the box. He stepped backwards so that he was in the box, but his hands were still outside the box. He should have chested the ball forward and then just kicked it away up the pitch, but he decided to grab the ball. And then the second yellow card and sending off for Hibs put them under a bad way. Let's listen to the Hibs manager, because even he says they were they caused their own downfall.
But how do you begin to describe what unfolded this afternoon?
I think it's pretty clear. I think we beat ourselves today, if I'm being honest. Same last week. Very hard to win games of football with 11 men. Last week we went down to 10 and 60 minutes into the game. Today, I actually thought Hearts started slightly better. The frantic start that we knew it was coming, I thought, but then we went 1-0 up, and then from there had a couple of, then you find yourself 1-0 up, but down to 10 men after 14 minutes again.
They were. You've got to say that the goal was against the run of play, completely against the run of play. I mean, I thought Hearts did start the better team. Hibs could have went 2-0 up at one point, and that could have really set back Hearts. But like you say, they sending offs completely changed the game in that half and early into the second half.
Very, very difficult, and then to then find yourself down to 9 men makes it even tougher. Now, one thing I would say is for the players that remained on the pitch didn't deserve that, because for what they put in, every single one of them, the subs that came on absolutely gave everything. And the character, I can't ask for any more than that. Very difficult with 9 men. But again, I think we beat ourselves with a couple of decisions that were the right decisions, the 2 red cards.
That's it. Well, at least he's honest about it. Decisions that were the right decisions. You might not like to think they were right decisions if you're a Hibs fan, but it was a second yellow, and his studs were kind of shown for that one as well. It was unlucky. I mean, he was going in to try and get the ball, but his studs did hit the player. It wouldn't have been a straight red. Second yellow all day long, and the player gets sent off. Keeper, just silly, wasn't he? Anyway, let's listen to John Robertson, because he knows that Hearts can't count their chickens as yet.
It's difficult. As I said, you're talking to someone who's 8 minutes from the title, so nobody here is counting their chickens. Let's put it that way. There's still work to be done, but this squad, they've got a real big squad. They've got quality where they need it up front. They've got midfield men who can create, wingers that can create. They've got real steel at the back as well. So listen, they're in the position now. It's just immortality awaits everybody in maroon and white.
Does immortality await, or will they fall at the hurdle for the second time in 40 years? Tell me what you think in the comment section. Who do you think will win the title in the SPFL with 4 games remaining? Everyone knows what colours I am, and everyone knows what team I think may do it. I've changed my tune, because back in December I didn't think that Celtic stood a chance. Martin O'Neill is some manager. Haven't listened to Martin O'Neill today. Let's do that later on. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't to, because we're going to be doing a big load of watch-alongs over the course of the summer with the World Cup.